Hey there, West Virginia fans. So we've got lots to talk about tonight. So are the Mountaineers, did they right the ship? Did Neil Brown right the ship? Or are they just 2 weeks away from hitting an iceberg? We'll talk about it.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that, spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas, think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you are behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains that last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this.
Hey the guys. So I'll tell you what. Guess who called? And guessed. I guessed, guys. I predicted the exact score. This guy. Last Thursday. Yep, last Thursday, I called it. Right? But let's talk about the game. So I went down to old Morgantown, rolled into town about 9:15, partaked in a little bit of tailgating. Great atmosphere. I'm 2 for 2 for weather delays. I've attended both weather delayed home Mountaineer games. I didn't go to the Albany game. So what's that saying? Can't blame me for losing the Pitt, because guess what? I attended this game and they won. But we had talked about sky's not falling. Okay. And we're going to start off the show going through the Big 12 and seeing how crazy the Big 12 is. There are some upsets. It's open. It's, guys, if you didn't think West Virginia has a chance, then I'll tell you what, you're not very optimistic. Let me share my screen here. Let's look at the standings in the Big 12. Hopefully I'll make that a little bit bigger, kids. There we go. There we go. So right there. Who's at the top? Who's at the top? BYU. Let's start off with BYU. After that game, I'm tired. I'm sitting there at 10 o'clock just trying to hang on until BYU matches up and plays Kansas State. I thought Kansas State was going to steamroll BYU. Guys, that didn't happen. BYU is the toast of the Big 12 right now. Utah, they're competitive in every game. They win every game, but they haven't been dominant. BYU dominated Kansas State. Kansas State scored 9. I think BYU had 38. That is a butt whooping. Guys, it's going to be, thank goodness, we don't have to play them this year. But imagine traveling out to the West Coast and having to play those guys. Utah, the prognosticators have been pretty spot on, and then the rest of the season they have a pretty favorable schedule. UCF, they're 1-0. Cincinnati's 1-0. Colorado, I don't know if that was ball got across the goal line on that overtime. Looked like that kid got a touchdown for Baylor. And what about Baylor playing Colorado tight? But Buff fans, or Colorado Buffalo fans, guys, act like you've been there before. You beat Baylor, guys. You beat Baylor, and you beat them in overtime, and you act like you won the Sugar Bowl. What the heck's going on there? But, guys, Texas Tech is 1-0. And guess who else is 1-0? The mighty Mountaineers. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the defense was spongy, and then that sponge dried out for a little bit, got a little bit tough, and then, just enough to win by 10. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Iowa State, guys. Iowa State's a good team. They're 3-0. They haven't played a conference game, but I think maybe the Iowa game's going to be Iowa State game's going to be a night game, and Neil Brown's Mountaineers are going to rock the charcoal uniform. The charcoal uniform, yes, ladies and gentlemen, they're going to be rocking the charcoal. Let's go to comments real quick before we wrap up this segment. So we got Joey Foster saying hello. Tim Green, as always. Kelly, good to see you, man. And S.A. Tackett, how you doing? So, let's get back to this, guys. This is where, man, you sit there and you stew and you look at the who's the best, who's going to be here, what tier. This is definitely top tier of the Big 12. No, wait a second. This is the middle tier, and this is the bottom tier. Throw all that out the window, guys, because this proves it. Arizona State has a loss in conference, but they're 3-1. Oklahoma State lost. I'm surprised. But Mike Gundy usually has one flop early in the season and turns it around. So, guys, that's not going to be a layup in 2 weeks. And guess what? These two teams are going to be squaring off next week. Right? They have a week to right the ship after losing. That's not good for the Mountaineers. Although Kansas might give Oklahoma State a whooping, I don't think that so. I think it's going to be a super competitive game. The Baylor Bears, man, what a game against Colorado. But are they bottom feeders battling out, or are they legitimate good teams? Jury's out. TCU, man, I think you're where we thought you'd be. You're at the bottom. Houston, the same. But Houston, guys, the Cougs played Oklahoma, 2 weeks ago, tough. And then you have Kansas. Kansas was flirting with the top tier. Joey and I were like, oh, they look good. Lance Leopold, they're still a good team. They have really good offense. Quarterback threw an interception. That seemed to make quite a bit of difference as the game progressed because, Mountaineers won by 10. So, guys, this is head scratching. So let's give Todd Gwynn some love. So, hey, Todd, how you doing, brother? So in the chat, hit me up if any of these just you think are sleepers. I think Iowa State, Joey, I know Joey is high on them. I think they're a sleeper. BYU, my goodness. Who on this list can beat them? Let's see if I can pull up their schedule. Guys, here's their schedule. BYU. So, Southern Illinois. They beat SMU. And SMU, guys, looked good this past week. So, SMU is no slouch. They beat Wyoming. And, guys, right here, to make it a little bigger for you kids to wear cheaters, okay? Kansas State. They played them at home. 38-9. 38-9. And next week, BYU has Baylor. Manageable game. They're playing them in Waco, though. They have Arizona at home. Having Arizona home is going to really help them out. They play Oklahoma State at home. They got to go down to the bounce house. They might lose that one. They travel to Utah, guys. But there's going to be just as many BYU fans there as there are Utah fans. Oh, I am going to be tuning into every one of these games. You know, I'm absolutely hooked on Big 12 football now with teams like BYU and Utah. And even Kansas is not going to be a slouch. What happens if Kansas pulls it out in Provo? You know, and then at Arizona State, and they have Houston home. So this is a W for sure. Let's say Arizona State's a W. I say it's 50-50 on Kansas. I think they're going to turn it around. Guys, BYU looks legit. They look legit. Let's look at UCF. Are they legit? So they beat TCU in a non-conference game, right? Guys, TCU is going to play Colorado. Hopefully Colorado, if they win, they don't storm the field in Orlando with their 5,000 fans that'll be there. There's a few Buff fans to travel, but maybe going to Disney that week or Universal Studios. So this is what is interesting. We'll see exactly what's up with TCU when they play Florida, which is just a hot mess. Iowa State, they're going to lose. Arizona, they're going to lose. And they're going to lose to West Virginia and Utah. So, sorry, guys. UCF, you're not going to be at the top of the list very much longer. But let's get to it. We're going to get to West Virginia, but I want to look at Kansas State real quick. Guys, they stumbled. Oh, man, did they take a pounding at BYU. Oklahoma State, they have in Manhattan. Willie the Wildcat and company will be hosting the Cowboys. And this is 11 a.m. kickoff, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then they have to go to Colorado. That's not going to be an easy matchup, guys. Kansas State's good. Colorado is not horrible. Their defense looks pretty spongy, but they can put up a lot of points. At West Virginia, we know where that's at. That's going to be a great game. We're excited. Kansas. Guys, is this going to be the night game that has the black unis, or is it going to be Iowa State? I don't know. So this looks like a manageable schedule, but they still have some. Iowa State's not going to be easy. Kansas. So there's probably 4 games on here that they have a chance of losing. So Kansas State, with that one loss, will they make the playoffs? Or heck, the Big 12 championship? I don't know. We'll look at Oklahoma State, and then we're going to look at West Virginia, guys. So here we go. They lost to Utah. This was one that we circled and highlighted. And this clearly established the pecking order that Utah is where they belong at the top. That's an ugly score, 22-19. They go to Manhattan, Kansas, guys, next week. Then they go to West Virginia. Or no, West Virginia goes to Stillwater. So, other than Colorado, they go to, they have a favorable schedule with, they have a favorable schedule. They got Colorado and then Kansas State this week and West Virginia. So, those are the 3 games that are question marks. I think Oklahoma State has an easier path than Kansas State. So, I think they move up to the top. But Iowa State looks tough. So, as we know, the Mountaineers are now securely at 500. In the chat, hit me up. Neil Brown's toasty butt cheeks. Give me a score, 1 to 5. 5 being the toastiest, crispiest butt cheeks that you can think of. They're actually on fire. Where would you put him? After last week, I'd take that burner and put it down 1 notch. He went from a 4 to 3.5 on the hot seat. Todd, I hear you. The pit loss was horrible. But on a bright note, they had that game won, and the defense shit the bed. And that shows that they can come from behind. They can play some good ball. There's a little bit of a spark there. Yeah, Kelly McCourt, 3. You know what? Right now, we're not a huge Brown fan, but I'm a fan for the rest of the season until they tell him to pack his bags. Till they tell him to pack his bags, Kelly and Todd. So, what's it going to take? Let's look at the schedule for the Mountaineers, see what it takes to keep Neil Brown in town, and then we'll talk about GG. Look at his stats. Talk about the news of the week. So, here we have it, kids. Yeah, this loss looks bad. It looks bad. And I still get a case of the ass. Before we get this, let's talk about what would you do in this situation? Went to Mountaineer Field. I have tickets. And I can't even make this up. I don't even know if I want to bring this up, but this is interesting. You guys will dig it. There was a guy in my row, 2 people down, that had lice. I shit you not. We moved. Luckily, I have 2 sets of tickets. I moved to the other area. There was some space. Called the ticket office. They told me there's nothing they could do to help me. That on top of both games, the guy is so big. My kid and me are basically standing in the aisle. There's not room for us. They can't help me. So this would be my 15th year in 20 years of being a season ticket holder. And they're just blowing me off. It's, we could move your seats, but it's going to be hard to find. I don't care where they put me. I just don't want to be by that guy because apparently he was there for the Penn State game and he was there for this game. So apparently his dad or somebody has tickets. And I think he's going to be there for the next game. I think it's Iowa State, right? What do you do? Anyways, we'll see. We'll see. To be continued. I'll talk about this maybe later. Okay. So let's look at this schedule. If you give a score of the defense in the second half, I think I'd give them a solid 3. 3. That's the score I would give them for 3 quarters of the Pitt game. And then they got a 0 in the fourth quarter. Goose egg. So Leslie moved up to the box, up to the press box, right? Neil Brown said that would take the emotion out of it. Yeah, life of a ticket holder. Yeah, I'm complaining. Yeah. But here's the thing, Todd. I used to buy those tickets with my tax return before I had kids, and they were reasonable. And then they went into the Big 12, and about a year after being in the Big 12, I just decided not to pay for them anymore. Well, like 2014. So it's been 10 years. So like out of 24 years, I think I've been a ticket holder for 15. So there's like 9-year break there. Okay. Guys. Crazy. But what I still don't feel good. But who do you put in his place as a defensive coordinator? You're stuck with him. You have to ride with him. So being in the press box, the results were a little bit more favorable. The team looked prepared. They do have grit. Okay. They could have just, after that delay, they were down at the half, guys. We forget this. And I had the feeling again that they were just going to wither away and let Kansas take control, and it was going to be over. It didn't happen. The Mountaineers showed resolve. Garrett Green looked good. Gallagher looked good. So are they going to put him on defense for the next game? Was that what I was reading today? Do you put him on defense? Now, Fox wasn't seen for the first half, and then he put him in the second half. The injury bug is going to start striking. And we'll see exactly how deep the Mountaineers are in the skill positions. But Aubrey Burks, there was an update today. I read it. I'll let you guys read that. I'm hoping he gets well soon. He's a great asset to the Mountaineer squad. But great comeback win. And that's exactly what I call it, a comeback win, because that break, you know how hard it would be to stay warmed up, to stay focused, right? I think that might have helped the Mountaineers, honestly. Being at home, comfortable, knowing your environment, fans, that weather break might have helped them out. So let's talk about this game. Oklahoma State. The Mountaineers won in 2022. 2022, the Mountaineers won. So what, Shane? Yeah. But they hadn't won before that until 2014. So they don't have a very good record against the Cowboys. Now, there are some serious shootouts there. No pun intended. But Oklahoma State is a good team. And Mountaineers have to travel to Stillwater. So I'm thinking they have to fly to Dallas and then get a connecting flight up to Stillwater. Or maybe fly to Kansas City and then Stillwater. That's a long day. You lose a day right there to travel. I just don't know, man. I just don't know. This one scares me. I picked the Mountaineers last week. I picked that the exact score. However, I'm not going to give you my prediction right now. I'm gonna wait till Thursday Joey and I are going to do what we think that game's going to be, even though it's 2 weeks from now, and we'll give you a different score a week from then, because we'll know who's going to be coming back off the injured list. The wounded warriors of Morgantown, and there's a few of them. But Iowa State, guys, let's look at Iowa State. That's another one. You have to think Iowa State or Kansas State is going to be that Cole uniform. Now, Iowa State's going to be a 3:30 kickoff. Is that right, guys? That's what I have read. 3:30 kickoff. Let me put it in the chat. Do you like 3:30 kickoffs? I think that's the sweet spot. If you're going to the game, 7, people tend to get a little bit too sauced up. Right? Get a little bit too tuned up. But traffic was good for the game. It wasn't like the Penn State game. Atmosphere was still good. But night games where it's at. 7 p.m., it's going to be rocking. So I think that Kansas State game, if Kansas wins next week, I mean, if West Virginia beats Oklahoma State, are they top 25? Are the Mountaineers top 25 if they win against Iowa State and Oklahoma State? I think that's what it takes. I think it takes 2 more wins. I think the Mountaineers, because right now they're at 60th. Right beside Army. I don't know. That Pitt game. Oof. They'd be top 25 right now if it wasn't if they'd beat Pitt. We wouldn't be talking about half this crap. But Iowa State, Kansas State, if they could split those two, win one of those, that's great, because guess what? I'd rather lose to Iowa State than Kansas State, because you have the tiebreaker if you beat Kansas State. Get the tiebreaker. Beat Kansas. If you had to split them, I'd take the win over Kansas State over Iowa State. Go to Arizona. Guys, I don't care what the Magic 8 Ball says. That's a 50-50 shot right there. And if you don't think that's going to be, they call it the Desert Curse, kids. The Desert Curse. Going out there to Arizona to play ball. I don't know. Will that affect the Mountaineers? Are they impervious to the Desert Curse? We'll find out right before the Halloween weekend, right? That's going to be a fun one. So let's look at Cincinnati. Cincinnati's going to be I don't know. I think that's a win, guys. Mountaineer fans will be in attendance there. Let's go to the chat real quick. Yes, 3:30 kickoff Iowa State. That's what I said, and I'm hoping that's right. So we'll need a win, at least 3 to get into the top 25. Yeah, 3. I'm saying 2, but 3 would do it for sure, Shannon. Yeah, takeaway should be named. Yeah. Shannon, I don't know, brother. I think maybe 2, because let's look at the schedule here. You beat Oklahoma State at home, and you beat Iowa State. Iowa State's 3-0. Even if they lose next week, they're going to be 3-1 coming to Morgantown. That's not bad. Oklahoma's still ranked. They're ranked 20. 20. Ranked 20. So, go Baylor. Yeah, David, Baylor looked better than Colorado. I'm heartbroken that they lost to that. I can't even say it. That shit show in Boulder. They call the Colorado Buffaloes. And Colorado, I say this every week. I watched the Prime series on Amazon Prime, and it was entertaining. And I was so caught up in it, and I'm like, this is great. It's great for the college, and you're rooting for them, and it's just you're entertained by them, and it's a great thing. Then you're like, ugh. It's like, okay, what's going on here? Then you start hearing just the negativity and how toxic that environment is. And then you're rooting, shortly after that, you're rooting against them. And the Bears deserve better. I thought he got, when Hunter hit him for the fumble, I thought he broke that plane. But I wasn't there. But when I initially saw it, I thought he broke the plane. But anyways, so Baylor, after Cincinnati, Baylor comes to Morgantown. Now, going back, throw out the record for Baylor, because Baylor and West Virginia, kind of like TCU. TCU could be horrible, and West Virginia was ranked a few years ago, played TCU and lost, and that was just surprising. Baylor's kind of the same way. It looks like a win on paper, but so did Pitt. I think UCF travels in here and loses, but does Baylor? I don't know. I mean, you win 2 or 3 of these. Are you in the conversation for a Big 12 championship? I think out of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games, you win 6. A one loss in conference will get you in the Big 12 championship. 1 loss, 2 losses. Kansas State has a loss. Oklahoma State has a loss. But Utah's going to run the table. BYU's going to run the table, maybe. So now you're competing for the 3rd spot. You got to pray for a BYU loss or a Utah loss. Now, then it gets really, really funny on how to. You have to dig into the rules. Who beats who, and what day it took place, and what color are you wearing, and what number do you have up? I don't know how it works with the tiebreaker. Would I want to be in that situation? Hell yeah. I wouldn't poo-poo it. But we got to get there. So every week we go over the schedule, because guess what? Different teams win, the flavor changes, okay? This is not the Big Ten, where Ohio State, and Michigan played an egg against Texas, but you know that they're going to be okay. The Big 12 is a tank full of piranhas. A tank full of piranhas. That's what the Big 12 is. And the ACC is just a hot mess, except for Miami. Right? So, I want to talk now about, let me make myself small again. Let's talk about a little bit of some super early bowl projections, okay? Guys, Phil Steele, the prognosticator of all prognosticators, says the Mountaineers will be playing for a bowl. He said they look good enough to be playing for a bowl, but other folks like CBS and the College Football Network say it's not going to happen. Avalon Sports says Mountaineers are going to be in the guaranteed rate bowl against Maryland. Mark Schlaubaugh says no bowl. So ESPN's basically telling them it's not going to happen. USA Today says they're going to play in the Liberty Bowl. And West Virginia on SA says, they're telling us it's the first responder bowl against Florida State. I'd love to see that. But so that's my bowl update. I don't know, guys. What do you do? I think they can make a bowl. Last week, I wasn't too sure. Was not sure at all. Yeah, Shannon, you're spot on. The Mountaineers need to beat a one-loss Big 12 team like Oklahoma State, Kansas State. But they may not lose again. Yeah, you never know. They might go on a tear. And when I did my what if, would you take a loss against Pitt and Penn State and win the Big 12? I didn't want that. I'd rather win against Pitt and Penn State. But for the program, winning a Big 12 and getting the playoff is probably better, right? For the program. So, guys, I don't know. I can't believe Phil Steele's thinking that too, because that's really good news. Good news. Let's talk about Gigi. Okay. Let's talk about Garrett Green, number 6. Okay. So what I have up here, kids, is his stats. So last year he was at 52, and that was the magic number. So right there in the middle, you see 52.9. And I heard different folks on different websites say if he gets to 60, West Virginia is going to be tough to beat. Okay. What's his number at right now for the 2024 season? He has he's 63 for 111 for 56.8%. Pretty close to getting to 60. If he gets to 60 and stays at 60, the talking heads say that he's going to be the Mountaineers are going to win. He's going to be playing in a bowl game. I don't know if that's true. I think he has to do a little better than that. But and he's been playing better away than home. So, I mean, here's his stats right here. Versus AP Top 25, 53.6%. So, that's old Gigi's stats. Guys, what this stat does not show, what it doesn't show is Garrett Green is making decisions quicker. And he's taking care of the ball. He did have an interception that was ugly in the first half. But he's a good quarterback. In 2025, is Nico going to be the man? All things are pointing to yes, that he's going to be taking over in 2025. But when Nico came in the first half, while Garrett Green had taken his helmet off on the goal line there, I think it was like red zone, maybe the 15-yard line. He fumbled the snap, and then it became like 2nd and 13. So, was it jitters? I'm thinking so, guys. So, Shannon is telling us we are so effective with him in 2-minute offense. Can we just run that 70% of the time? Mike Leach says yes. Rest in peace. Yeah, Mike Leach. Yeah, Semper Gumby. Always flexible. Adapt to be successful. Why not? Yeah, run an up tempo. This is the problem with that, Shannon. West Virginia doesn't have the defense to do that. They don't. I don't think they do. You want to run some clock out. Because you see what happened with 4 minutes left against Pitt. Hell, they had 2nd and 30. But so what else do I have on my magic list, kids? Let me check my list. Okay. We talked about a little bit. Man, I'm gonna talk a little bit stats. I hate talking stats, but so West Virginia has struggled against the pass this year. So let me get some water. Maybe it's sarsaparilla. I don't know. Giving up an average of 274 yards, right, in the air. But the Mountaineers this past week gave up under 200, so it's like 180 something. Okay. And they also struggled against the run. And I think they gave up over 200 yards on the run. But Neil Brown and Jordan Leslie, God bless them. They did something a little bit different. They put him up in the press box, and they're telling us that they simplified some of the coverages. What that does just tells me they overcomplicate things, because last year they did the same thing. They said, well, we simplified the offense. We did this and we did that. Come on. It just proves that Jordan Leslie wasn't a defensive coordinator of any program that I can see. When I looked it up, tried to look up that he had any experience. This is his first rodeo in the big arena. Okay, so yeah, break your teeth in, right? Power 5 school against, I don't know. Sometimes I just want to scream. But on a lighter note, on a higher note, let's just talk some good things. Let's talk something that popped up that I thought was fantastic, and I want to share with the kids. Okay? Make it bigger. Okay. Here we go. And what it is we have a Mountaineer that is lighting it up. So this just came out, yesterday? And let me see if I can just make it just a tad bit bigger. So highest graded wide receivers in the country. And our very own Hudson Clement is at an 86.3, number 4. Guys, he's a walk-on. He's a walk-on. And he's leading the country. And he's not like, he is in 4th place, but he's really in 3rd place because there's a tie for 1st. That's fantastic. That is fantastic. That is good news story. Good news story for the Mountaineer program. So, just go to chat. Oh, agree. Thanks, Shannon. Nico, yeah, 25. GG is gone next year. That's true. Yeah, he is. So, I'm just saying there's that transfer that came in. So, he's a dog, but anyways, we won't go down that rabbit hole today. So, guys, I love seeing stuff like this because I'm like, wait a second. I wasn't even thinking about that. But his routes are, from the article, are spot on. And, even when the ball's not passed to him, he's beating his coverage one-on-one. So he's a hell of a route runner. I don't know, guys. I'm pretty excited. If you haven't got enough of me, I'm doing my Mountaineer Mafia show at 9 o'clock. So tune in. If you haven't subscribed to the Voice of College Football, this channel. And if you want to talk a little bit more, joke around a little bit more, we're going to talk West Virginia Mountaineer Mafia coming up next. But before I close out this show, just want to ask, has anybody seen anything about Preston Fox? I haven't been able to find anything on what his injury exactly is. He wasn't in the first half. He came in the second half. I'm just curious, because guys, it has not been an ideal start for the Mountaineers, but I'm going to remain optimistic. It's not always sunshine and roses in Morgantown, but it's not all doom, gloom, and sadness, even though the skies have been rainy and overcast. The two big games that were in Morgantown, but or not. Hell, Pitt was rainy, and then they had the two weather delays, Penn State and this last game. We got what we wanted. We got a win against a conference opponent. Is the ship pointed in the right direction? Did Neil Brown kind of get us at least going? I don't know. Neil Brown's still in hot seat as far as I'm concerned. Shannon says, what is disturbing defensively for the past 3 years? They had to simplify our D. Yes, that's exactly what I was saying. That shows that you don't have a pulse of what your kids are picking up, right? In education, they call it a check on learning, right? In the Army, it was to make sure, hey, what did you learn today? And person A, B, or C would say, and you'd always go ask the person looked like they were just looking at squirrels, or the person had crayons around their mouth. That's who you find out. But I guess they don't spot check, right? Ethan Schaefer, what is the bar if there's any Neil Brown secures a ship? Yes. I think it's he has to be at least second or third in the Big 12. He has to win maybe 6 more games, secure his spot for next year. Anything under 8 wins, he's going to get his papers. Ethan, that's a great question. You think I'm off mark? Because guess what? West Virginia could very easily lose 4 more games. This isn't all sunshine and roses, being optimistic, but I'm being a realist too. The ceiling is Big 12 Conference Championship. Not winning it, being in the game, okay? Then it's making a bowl, and then it's, oh my goodness, West Virginia won 5 games this year. Scrap out 6 or 7 wins, win a bowl game, and most are happy now. Not us. Yeah, I would have to agree. Who do you turn the corner with? I'm going to talk about that next hour. If they were to turn the corner, who's it going to be? I like Liberty's coach. I like me a little bit of Jimbo. People, different strokes, different folks. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. So I guess I also want to ask you guys this. Do you prefer the Fox broadcast or the ESPN broadcast? I don't know. The pre-production, I think, on Fox is garbage. I do like the camera angles that Fox provides better. Just one of those thoughts that popped in my mind. I want to ask you guys what you think in the chat. Let's go to the chat real quick before we go. I want to thank everybody popping in. I'm going to give you a shout out. We've got a Baylor fan, David Swenson, was in here. Shannon Miller, thanks for your participation. Ethan, thanks for popping in. Of course, S.A. Tackett, Kelly McCourt, always in here as a fan. And then earlier on the day, Tim Green. So, ESPN says that it's going to be a 4 o'clock kickoff on the 5th for Oklahoma State. So I think that would be 3 Eastern. I don't know what you can say about that other than, my day would be shot because I'll be so tuned up. I won't be able to like get any yard work or anything done because I'll be wanting to, watch football all day. But at least if it's a noon kickoff by 3 o'clock, I'm either so frustrated or so happy I'm moved on to something else to get my mind off of it. But I want to thank everybody who popped in tonight. Joey, Tim Green, Kelly McCord, S.A. Tackett, and gang. It's been a fun show. Join me in 10 minutes on the West Virginia Mountaineer Mafia. And if you haven't gotten enough of the Mountaineer fandom, join me. But that's all I have tonight. I want you guys to have a great evening if I don't see you. And let's go Mountaineers.